The reason that we're, I guess, all here is to try and help save people, to try and give them a better solution, to try and find a way out, because there is one. I had left for school that day, said goodbye like any regular day, and didn't know what I was about to kind of stumble upon. And it's so hard to explain what it's like to have all of these thoughts in your head, like I'm gonna come home and talk to Janice, and you know, like any regular day, we're gonna have a conversation, and to come home and realize that she had passed. The next step, I mean, to call 911 and say something like Janice is dead was just so unreal. To answer some of the questions to the 911 caller, just some of the things he needed to know, you know. It just felt like that moment was so long. I have no idea how long I stood there, no idea at all before how long it took me to make the phone call, how long I was on the phone or in the room in general. I can briefly remember things that I thought, but I don't, it's like that moment is frozen. I've had moments like that before, but never that severe, I guess. Just have no clue how long time ran that moment. Yeah, that phone call was quite a hard thing to do, and even to leave the room. You know, letting strangers walk in, ambulance people, police officers, to sit downstairs and watch them all go upstairs was very difficult, because it's just, I felt so, it was such a personal thing. It was like I was coming home to see Janice, and all of a sudden all these people are here, and it's, you know, something terrible has happened, and you know, things like, now we're gonna call her parents, you know, do you know her parents' phone number, things like that, and it's just had no clue how to handle those things. I feel like the next day, like I'd probably say that night, you know, it was a lot of shock, a lot of talking, a lot of people to contact, a lot of things going on, and it was at night that I felt it the most. It was the initial first night when all these people had been at my house, all of her friends, and I felt like my best friend Kelsey was gonna stay over. I felt like, you know, someone's gonna be with me to help me, and no one stayed. And I just spent that night sleeping in my living room. I couldn't even lock myself in my room. I had to sleep out in the open, and it was just probably the hardest night I ever slept, because there was no one there to get me through it. It was just a feeling that, you know, my whole life had changed. Everything that I was, you know, planning and thinking was now, okay, let's start on step one again. So I think the days after was a lot of, you know, thinking about things like, oh, you know, am I going to go to a funeral? Things like, what am I going to do there? Am I allowed to come there? You know, I didn't know her family very well to know how they would react to this, or, you know. So it was a lot of worrying, a lot of trying to get myself through it any way I could, I guess, and just keep busy with talking to people, hearing how they felt, listening was a lot of it. Talking with Janice's mom is she calls them grief bursts, and I literally can relate to that, because it's one moment I'm working and things like that, and even one day a girl that resembled Janice came in. Janice is on my shirt, you know. A girl with brown dreadlocks came in, and just a big smile, and I saw her and looked up at her. She was waiting for the bathroom, not even ordering a coffee, and I just immediately said hi. And then thinking back, she probably had no idea why I said hi to her, but it was like, just all of a sudden then the realization came in that that's not Janice, and it was like I had to leave the room, you know. I had to stop and get someone to continue where I was, because I just, you know, 'cause it's so simple what can trigger it, anything, you know, just something that no one else would even notice, and it's just can bring back, you know, even a smell, you know, the smell of her perfume, anything can bring back just all of a sudden some kind of a memory. It's always, you know, like what ifs, you know, should I have stayed home that day? You know, would that have made this different? Would it have affected the end result? Things like, should I have said something differently during conversations, or, you know, memories shared? Should I have said something more important, you know? Because you don't think of those little moments, you know, you just talk and say your feelings, and you know, listen to people about things that they're sad about, but sometimes you don't realize how important it is what you're saying.
Sometimes we don't realize how important people are to us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's hard too.
Yeah.
And you lost your dad as well through suicide.
Yeah.
So you've gone through it twice.
Yeah.
And that's a rough.
It's just, I just had like a moment where I felt like everyone in my life was going, you know? It just felt like I'm doing something wrong, you know? Why is this happening? Why? And I felt very alone in that, like just watching people interact with their family and just wondering why my dad was gone. Why can't he watch me drive or watch me, you know, graduate? Why is this happening? You know, you feel very alone when that happens.